Hi, Swaminathan.
Hi, Shruti. A very good morning to you. How have you been?
Doing well. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking out
Yes,
the time today.
pleasure is mine.
So, you've been through a whole year of applications and interviews, right? So, we are here to hear about your journey, learn from your insights. So, please share your work experience and your background with us.
Giving a brief about my background. So I actually am from currently am the account manager for the ExxonMobil at ExxonMobil. All right, ExxonMobil is an oil and gas major, and I work in its petrochemical division. Currently, I handle the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana region as the business development manager. Right. So my role revolves around techno commercial role, I would call it, because I was more of doing sales, that was operations, like day to day negotiations, operational issues, but also looking at development part of it, right? Kind of coming up with new products, how it will help the customer. I've had almost 4.8 years of experience in this company. I joined actually as a campus hire over here, so I have not changed my company. Prior to the sales and marketing role, I was actually in a planning and strategy role where I was kind of supporting the product management team in ExxonMobil. I was actually supporting the North America product management team, and I was helping them with data insights, pulling in data from SAP, kind of making it into graphs, creating dashboards on Tableau, Power BI. So that gave me kind of an analytical experience. And my motive was to kind of get into the market facing role because I felt that that was giving me a business side of understanding and more on the back end side. But at the end of the day, I wanted to know where our product is used and what our customers value us for. So that was my journey in ExxonMobil. I did my mechanical engineering over there, and I had got this ExxonMobil as a campus placement, right? But NIT Trichy was my beginning of journey in India because prior to that I did my schooling in Dubai. When I say Dubai, it's but I did in the CBSE curriculum, so not much different from what it was in India. I gave the board exam, I gave my entrance exams, and I got into NIT Trichy. So that was pretty much born and bottom in Dubai. Post 12th standard, it was fully in India. So and now at IIM Ahmedabad.
Great. You have a considerable exposure to international environment. So, did you ever consider an MBA in the US versus an MBA in India? And what were the criteria that were important for you?
The first 2 years that I came into ExxonMobil, if I was thinking about MBA, it was abroad MBA. I think it was more to do with my comfort levels with international. Like, I was still not acclimatized to the Indian environment because it was 4 years of college and then 2 years, starting of my work, right? So, but then soon I very soon realized that India is something apart. Like, even when I came from, Dubai to India, right? It was like a complete shock for me. It was a good shock because over there, I got, 93%, and I was kind of like one of the top students over there. And then when I came here, the minimum percentage was 95% in NIT Trichy because NIT Trichy is also, a a cream level college. So that gave me a reality check which completely transformed me because of my NIT experience. In the starting years of my work ex, I was working with the US team, but then still I felt like many of these opportunities are slowly gravitating towards India. Like even in ExxonMobil, they were putting a lot of job roles to India. Yes, one is the selfish reason of cost, but also I felt that the opportunities available over here was also increasing. The people were increasing. The number of people available are also increased. So it's a supply demand game at the end of the day. Thought process towards staying in India for the long term. And I think I'm very confident about this decision today.
Excellent. And you're headed to IIM Ahmedabad yourself. Right?
Yes.
So this all starts with preparing for the GMAT. How was the preparation for the GMAT while managing your work responsibility?
I would say it was pretty tough because at work it was challenging times because I had started my preparation during the COVID time. So now it's 2024. I started preparing. Starting motivation was because my friends were preparing for CAT, and I felt that I should prepare for GMAT because at that time I was looking at abroad MBAs, right? The only local MBA that I was thinking about was ISB at that time because none of the other programs I was even eligible. ABC and all have that minimum experience, right? So at that time I had given my GMAT, and because of COVID, there was a lot of the great resignation had started, even including ExxonMobil, right, where a lot of people left. That kind of stretched the hours for me because I had to, first of all, I had to support the US product management team. So my timings, even though I was 9 to 6, I was extended till, so it was challenging. But I think one important thing that I did, which helped me, was the peer learning. I thought I could study on my own, right? I didn't understand or realize that I got through college because of my peer learning, right? Peer learning in the sense that my peer is studying, I also study. I think that's something which is personal to me. But I felt at that time, because my two other roommates were studying for CAT, that really helped me, kind of like they are studying nature to me. And then that's where I started studying. Uh, Honestly, if you ask me, my journey of GMAT has been very long. I gave it in 2022 end, like almost 2 years, because it was constantly I was studying and I was never confident, right? I was never confident to go and give the exam. I felt always that there was something extra that I could achieve. I think that somehow, somewhere, kind of maybe reduce my performance in the exam also, because of the performance anxiety and the things that come around that. For me, if I want to look back and kind of retrospectively think what I would have done differently, I think I would have given it in 6 months of my preparation, because I don't think 1.5 years of experience changed anything.
Which were the programs that you applied to, and how did you go about building applications? What exactly, according to you, would be important for a strong application?
This is where another learning I had, like I had for GMAT. I was very confident, or I would say rather overconfident, in terms of I have my profile, I have my GMAT score. I thought I could apply alone. To be honest, I never applied till last year. This is my first year. And I thought I could get through my peers and kind of like get their, understanding of my essay and ratify it, right? And I applied to ISB in the first round, right? And even IMA. To be very honest, I did my essay part and then I came to you, right, for the interview part, right? That was the first round. So that is when I clearly felt that, I had already lost my battle there, because I felt that, we were trying to touch up around the story that I had created. And this story I had ratified with people, but it was only after I created the essays that I ratified with people, because my idea was mine, right? So that was something where I felt that, a consultant is very crucial. Why? Because I feel that I am very, like, imagine I'm a horse and my scope of field in terms of goals is very narrow. My first goal was to come back to, the organization I worked in, right? So uh, that was very narrow for me at that time, that because I had not seen outside and I didn't know what the opportunities outside. And that is where I think the consultant is really required, in terms of, because they have gone through different profiles. They know what are the exit opportunities after an MBA, what are the post MBA opportunities that are available. And that really helps to kind of take a seat back and try to position yourself in those positions, and then understand why and how to put your story around that. Because an MBA is not just an upscaling thing. It's obviously going to involve so many other things. And how are you going to use that to go into your goals? So I think that goal definition was very, very crude at the starting. Like, that's how I created for ISB. But then when I came to, then I realized what I had done. And then I came to you for the whole preparation for IMA. And I think that's when I kind of, it was like restarting. What do you say? Like 6 months of all the work, I had to kind of throw it in the bin, honestly, because none of it was making sense for the new kind of application that we did. Because uh, first of all, the goal identification, the things that come around it, the courses I had to take. Like this was, for example, okay, goal set is aside, but then there were questions on challenges and success stories. Even those things I had to change, because they had to surround my goals, right? So it was like kind of like starting from a blank sheet again, which again in retrospective, I think 2 times I've learned, but next time I will not be making this mistake. The first time was GMAT and this time. So I think I will go first itself for the, for the target, rather than trying it out and then going. So
Mm.
that was really the way I had this thing.
So I think how you went about it was you wrote your essays and then you connected with people on LinkedIn. You shared your essays for review, and when we started, it was already everything was submitted, and
Yeah.
interview was the only thing that was left. And what was the interview experience like, and what are the important parts for the preparation for interview?
So I will divide this into two. Okay. Now, ISB, IMA interview don't match at all. If you think you've done good in ISB, you might not do as well in IMA. Or if you've done IMA good. So it's completely different, mainly because of the panel that's taking it, because it's at the end of the day, it's faculty versus the students or alumni, right? So ISB interview for me was a complete different genre. And thanks to you, like, the set of questions that you had given, it actually prepared me. I think my interview went really well.
So we were discussing about the interview preparation and the interview experience at ISB and IMA.
From what I see, it's completely different. The two interviews, it's one is the faculty driven, one is the alumni driven. So alumni driven, it went very well. The reason being that you had given the questions and kind of like we had prepared, like there this list helped to kind of prepare scenarios which helped me kind of answer the panel's question by quoting, by remembering some of these scenarios, because at the end of the day panel can ask you anything, right? It will obviously revolve around your resumes, but then if you have some set answers, right, that helps you build on them. You kind of build a foundation and then you can pivot towards how you want to present it, right? So that kind of helped me a lot, because cheerful demeanor. At the end of the day, when they were like, giving shake hands, they told that, one thing, we know that you told the truth, all this because you wrote that cheerful demeanor and that's how you projected yourself. It's that positive kind of vibration or aura that you create that really helps in the interview, because the people are also excited to ask you and you are also excited to tell them. Like if you go into the interview with a kind of like nervousness, that kind of comes out very well. And obviously the panel is not trying to build on your nervousness, but then it shows up somewhere. So I would say that go in with all the confidence, and for that confidence to build up, you need to prepare these questions. So it's kind of like a chronology. Like you build the questions, you're ready for the questions, then you're confident. If you're confident, your interview goes well. ISB, as I told you, like it was because of the maybe my essay or my GMAT score, or now I don't want to rethink on that, but I think that interview went well. And that was because, of these, kind of preparation that I did. Now coming to IIMA, it was a whole different preparation. The first thing is extempore. That was a game changer for me. To be honest, I was reading newspaper every day, but that does not allow you to know about the current affairs. I would be very honest with you. It's a different type of preparation for current affairs. It's not that you read your newspaper every day, you read the headlines, you read some of the articles that you are interested in, right? That's the difference, right? The articles you are interested in might not be the articles that IIMA is interested in. So that is where I think we again were helped with the snippets of the articles. I spoke to Vinayak sir about, sending me even after I cleared the interview, because I think that that is a different kind of articles that we read, which in normal times we would not kind of read them. Like, dumped with information, which, you might not even find helpful. So I think these type of critical articles that are picked out and sent to you, that kind of helps you. It helps you even if you don't get through the interview, you can use that in your office. Like it's a daily matter which actually makes a difference. At the end of the day, IMA starts with an extempore. That again instills the confidence that if the extempore goes well, then your rest of the interview you can go in with that confidence. So I would suggest that for IMA, focus on the extempore. Everyone is talking about extempore, but it actually matters, right? Knowing the topics kind of gives you pros and cons. So in my second extempore, I know what the cons are. So I told that already. I told that, these things can be the limitations. But, here's the answer for that. They didn't have any questions to ask itself. So maybe that might be too much. But then, yes, you know both of the sides. So you know clearly how you want to, circumvent around if any problem arises.
Having
Right.
discussed these things, you have already articulated them mentally, so it's easier to process. What are your do's and don'ts for the future applicants?
Don't try. I mean, it's okay to try, but then sometimes it becomes too late, right? In my case, CMAT became too late. The preparation became too late. I think you should know your breaking point. You need to go for help. If you have years left with you, okay, you go one whole year without a consultant and then you go for a 1 year with consultant. At the end of the day, when you look at the huge fees and the ROI and everything, I think this is not a big investment that you're making. And this is an investment which helps you back. And also in the future, also like today, this interview prep has maybe helped me when I'm preparing for my IMA placement interview. Like it's going to be along the similar line. So I don't think it's like a investment just for the getting into it. I think the journey continues, and you kind of get. And obviously, I have heard from other people who have worked with Shruti also that that the journey continues even into IMA and ISB. We can come back to Shruti on what are different parameters and stuff like that, different kind of how to go about this, how to go about that. So I think it's a journey, and coming from Shruti, like the relationship is different. Like it's something I cannot put in words, but I even told Shruti the first time I got on a call with her, it was something, that warmth and the feeling that it's not transactional, it's not a monetary business that you're having, it's more of a personal relationship that you're having. That is kind of different, which I can clearly see. between Shruti and the others. And to be honest, I am a very, for GMAT also, I went through different people. I did my research for this, right? So I know that when I'm recommending, I have done my research on that. So I go into everything deep, and then I'm sure about this, what I feel, right? So yeah. So coming back to the don'ts, yeah. So first of all, know your breaking point, and then seek help post that, right? And then I feel, don't think interview is everything. The whole application matters, especially for if you're applying through the GMAT score, right? If you're applying through CAT, the PGP program, it would have been a whole different equation, right? I strongly believe that once you do this MBA actual, the PGPX, the ISB, the foreign MBAs, I think application matters. It's a holistic performance rather than an individual performance. So uh, start from the beginning, like start properly from the beginning. Do not submit essays or anything like for the namesake, because it's going to hurt you later, right? So those are the two don'ts that I strongly feel. Be confident, be positive. That's very important in the interview, and give it some time. Like take some time to kind of ingest what the consultant tells you on terms of what are the various career prospects. There's a clear advantage with round one. I feel that round one is the way to go. At least that way, like if for me round one didn't work, round three worked, right? You get your time, you get a second chance, or else it's another whole year you have to wait, right? So I would suggest go for round one. And yeah, I think these are the do's and don'ts.
Very helpful. And since you've done a lot of research, also, give us pointers on how should or what are the criteria that are important while selecting an MBA admissions consultant?
First thing I would do is obviously listen to the person, right? But I would also try to make it a point to kind of reach out to the people who have taken their consultancy. Now, this might be biased in terms of the numbers that they share, but at the end of the day, if you talk to them in person, I think the feedback is genuine. No one is wanting to kind of falsify and kind of because at the end of the day, today I am a student of Shruti, and I am not getting any commission or payment on terms of recommending her, right? At the end of the day, it's genuine. If we really liked it, people will like it, right? And I think that is a very good way to kind of understand, right? Second thing is, I think you need to kind of evaluate, like there are a lot of evaluations that are free today going online, right? I feel that they are not that educative. You can do that for your own, understanding, but I feel that those kind of things are very flowery picture they paint around it, which does not actually is not the truth, right? So I suggest that we go for that just to evaluate your profile, but I would not take that as the basis for deciding whether you want to go with them or not, because uh, I think I have my friends who have kind of like been shown that flowery picture, but once they entered, it was not very as flowery as it. So try to be as realistic as you can with in terms of understanding what you actually want to do.
It was very candid and appreciated.
Thanks a lot.